Hey everyone, this is Kit Pang. In today's video, I'll be talking about how one of my clients went from being nervous as a public speaker to not being nervous anymore as a speaker. Now, this interview with Jose, who is amazing, it's not to brag or anything, but I want this video to show you the possibility of what's possible for you as a speaker. You know, if you're thinking right now, I have all these nerves, I've been dealing with these nerves a long time, you know, I've been trying these different things. No, I want you to see if it's possible for other people to eliminate, to diminish the public speaking anxiety, then it's 100% possible for you as well. Now, you can take a look at it this way. You could be jealous of other people's success. You can say, hey, they can do it. They have it. I just want what they have. But I want you to really look at these videos and inspire yourself through their stories, through the work that they've put in, through what they're going through, and see how is that possible for you. Well, without further ado, let's jump into the interview. Can you first just tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, what do you do professionally? Just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm currently a real estate investor and real estate developer in the Boston market. So I buy, sell real estate and develop. I also have my construction management degree, so I can also act as a contractor too.
Yeah. So Jose, when we first got in touch, what were some of the things that you wanted to work on with the speaking side of things, and why? And why was that important for you?
Mostly it was mostly I wanted more confidence when I spoke. I wanted not to feel nervous and I wanted to enjoy the moment. That's really was my focus because I've been working very hard on myself on the books, but I being a presenter is really where you're actually at the podium.
Hmm. Now, why was it important for you to work on these things? And were you dealing with, you know, like the nerves for a long time?
I have. I believe I've always have. I always had that understanding that, you know, if you work hard, that it will show. But that is not always the case. Sometimes you actually have to speak. And it's like all that work that you did, people might second guess the work because it's not coming across communication wise,
Hmm. Now,
verbally.
when it came to when you say, you know, when it came to you saying hard work, it doesn't come through communication wise. What do you mean by that?
I mean, there's a big disconnect between somebody saying that they can see that you actually done something, and then you being able to verbalize and communicate properly for the end user to understand exactly what you're saying and where you're coming from, and understand how much you have worked on your craft, that you actually do know what the information in your industry is trying to provide.
Hmm. Now, when it comes to your speaking situations and, you know, being more confident in those situations, what were some of those situations or your situations that you usually get into when it comes to speaking?
I would say
Where you felt the nerves?
I would say mostly just very, very nervous, especially being up front in front of a room. It doesn't matter if it was 10 or more people, then I got really nervous because you really don't have a lot of techniques of, okay, how do I read the room? How do I provide the best information? How do I create a presentation that the audience will like? A lot of those questions always came in my head, and it just made it very difficult. One thing that you and I worked on was just understanding that your presentation doesn't have to be perfect, for one. We also went over, you know, how to create the presentation and the best way to deliver it. And I think those combined were key. But I think the biggest thing that I got from working with you is really understand the deep rooted cause of why I disliked speaking and the ways to improve it. And, you know, it comes with hard work. You know, the workshop definitely helped a lot. And what I found out is that I shouldn't be afraid of public speaking. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's something that I can always improve. And with good coaching, I look to continue to improve.
Yeah. So when it came to, you know, that email, you know, the email you sent me was great. You said something on the long lines of you have a speaking event coming up and you're not nervous anymore. What do you think was the biggest contribution to that? Was it one of those things that you just said, like getting to the root cause? What do you think was that?
Well, I think one of the biggest questions that you asked was, how do I prepare? And if it was the best way to prepare for my public speaking. You know, I do things a lot to get better and to improve. But like you said, what happens if you're not getting better because you're doing it wrong or you're just doing it too much. So one thing that I found for myself is instead of practicing as much, because I should already know the material if I'm speaking about it, if it's in my industry, what I did was actually just take it easy, take a nap, make sure I was well rested, make sure I was hydrated. So I worked more so on my physical aspect of in my mental aspect of getting prepared, less so than the actual presentation.
Got it. So say, be real with me, right? Because sometimes people don't believe this. That email that you sent me, and you said to me that you were not nervous. Were you really not nervous? Like, what was the difference between before and during that event after working together? Like, what was really the difference for you?
For me, I really enjoyed the moment. I love being in the front. I love providing the value to the people because they're taking time out of their day to come listen to me speak. And that was really it. Like the connection, like you said, if somebody is coming to see you speak, more than half the room probably might already know you and they already like you. So it just makes it that much easier to speak and in front of them. One thing I did not know during the presentation was that we had about maybe 30, 40 people that attended, but they streamed it online and we got over 500 views.
Oh,
It was a good event as far as streaming wise. But I just really enjoyed it to the point that I actually talked about some content that wasn't on any of my slides. Like I went on and went more deeper into the content that I was speaking about.
wow. How? So they told you before that it was stream. Like when you got there, they were telling you it was stream, and there was 500 people, right? Or did they tell you afterwards?
No, so I knew that that venue usually sits about they usually get about 40 to 50 people whenever a person speaks. But one thing that they started doing now is they're zooming it live on Facebook, so it's real time. Oh, so as I'm speaking, they're streaming it live, and then it was just like the numbers just kept going up and up and up, and more people just streaming it, and other people that were industry professionals were putting it on their private page or their group page and using that information to educate their audience too.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, I'm glad you got in front of all those people. Question I have for you is: before we started working together and doing this, what were some of the other things that you tried, if any?
I think like most people usually have one class and in high school, usually have a class in college for public speaking. I just mostly things like that. I did some stuff when I was in the military for public speaking. So I had a lot of public speaking training, but less actually public speaking as a presenter.
Yeah, yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think most people watching this, they had that one class in college or high school, and then they never touched it again. Sometimes it happens, or sometimes people actually they go to Toastmasters, they go to so many speaking events, but yet they still have speaking anxiety. And one thing that you said earlier is we went to the root cause of things. And how would you say going to the root? How would you explain going to the root cause of things for people that might hear me say, oh, we're going to go to the root cause, but they might not understand it? How do you think you would explain it to other people based off of some of the things that we did?
I would explain it in terms of working out. Most people that they have a goal to lose weight, but they don't lose weight is because it's not the exercise and the food that's holding them back. It's more so the mindset of being able to prolong that for 60 days, if not a year or however long. But once your mindset is set on, hey, I can do this and I can accomplish this, it makes it easier because there's people that try to lose weight 3 years in a row and then finally it clicks and they lose the weight. And when you talk to them, what happened? What was the biggest difference? And the difference is they made a decision. The difference is they understood and they dived in deep to understanding what's going to make the difference to get them to their goal.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying. It's really diving in deep and communicating with ourselves and really knowing what's in there to get the garbage out in a way. Do you have any speaking events coming up in the future?
No, I did. I've done a couple of. Actually, I do. Yes, I have one coming up. It's on Zoom, but it's still a speaking event. I'm going to be doing October 21st. So that's going to be the next one. I'm currently working on my presentation, so I'm looking to improve it. I'm looking to get better. I'm looking to be more confident.
Awesome, awesome. So would you say right now, before working together and after working together, what level were your anxiety before, And what level was your anxiety now? You can give a number from 1 to 10, before and after.
Yeah, I would say before my anxiety was really high. So I was probably at, my anxiety level was probably somewhere around an 8, I would say. And now I don't have any anxiety at all. I just feel very, very confident in front of the camera. I feel very confident, just public speaking, and I remember taking a professor told me, what does it take to be a leader? And it made me think, because, I have a military background. So I was like A, B, and C. And he's like, that's not exactly what I was looking for. And I said, then what are you looking for? And he goes, well, a leader has to have a dream and be able to present it in a way that other people follow. And that is what, as the real estate developers and investors, that we have to do. So if I want to improve in my role in my industry, I also had to improve in public speaking, because all leaders have to speak in some form of fashion.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. As leaders, we have to speak in public. It's just one of those things. I really believe that everyone should have the experience of feeling powerful and confident when they speak in front of others. And I love hearing everything that you said, Jose. So if there's one thing that maybe you would tell yourself when you were more nervous back then, now you know the things that you know, what would you tell yourself back then to start working on faster or start believing in faster?
I would say just the mindset is really find somebody that can provide the information of how to get from A to B, especially if somebody came from the similar situation and they have been able to get out of it, and really listen to what they're saying. And everything that made me able to be not nervous during when I speak was from the stuff like you were telling me, or it was like you were poking the questions and you made me think. You were saying, well, do you think you study too much, or do you think you repeat your presentation too much? And then after we went from that process, then we started going more to how do you make a great presentation. So it was the ability to create that mindset of understanding why I was feeling that way, and then it was on combination of the education of understanding how to improve the presentation. So I think it was a combination of both, and just sandwiching both of them together really improved my public speaking.
That's great. Jose, any last words for the audience before we go?
No, I think that, I think everybody should get more confident in public speaking. And I just don't feel that you can learn how to do that one-on-one. One-on-one, like by yourself within your head. I think it has to be. And I think if you speak a lot and you're not confident, you're not going to get better. Yeah, you'll get better with repetition. But if you're not doing the repetitions correctly, how do you know? And another question you always ask us is, how do you know you're getting the right advice? I think that's really key of getting the right advice and the right critique to improve. Because just because you're doing something doesn't mean you're improving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're getting my wife says that a lot. If you're getting advice, how do you know it's the right advice? Because if you keep on practicing with the wrong advice, it doesn't mean you're still getting better. You're practicing with the wrong thing, right? So I want to say thank you for your time with us today. And I look forward to hearing more about your speaking opportunities and events later on down the line as well.